Welcome to the Mystical Vision podcast. I'm JD White. In 2019, I was having mental health problems. I'd already been diagnosed with schizoaffective disorder. I'd say around the fall of 2018, around October, September, sometime around then. And I'm better now. I've recovered, and I was roommating with a guy named Roman Lopez here in downtown San Diego, California, in the Ray High Rise. And he was the boyfriend of my mother's friend, who was her ex coworker. And so my mother and I roommating with these people. Um, we'd always had our own apartment, but then we went to live in Tijuana for about 4 years, and then we came back to San Diego in 2018, and we were in that transition phase. We had our own studio apartment at first, and then we're moving around, trying to find somewhere bigger, and then um, yeah. So when we were only with these roommates for I think 3 days, and my hallucinations got even worse when we moved into the Ray high rise in March of 2019, and I couldn't get any help because I went to Jane Weston, and I started acting strange and ripped up documents that they wanted me to sign, because I was hearing voices and hallucinating, and I don't need to get into detail about everything that was going through my head, but I was mentally ill. Okay, and Jane Weston, kicked us out. Even though we really needed the help, they could see it. I was like yelling and ripping up documents that I was supposed to be filling out, which I was too mentally ill to even fill out. And uh, we also went to a hospital in Barrio Logan. I can't remember the name of it. I should look it up. But they turned me down too, because when they asked me if I was going to hurt anyone or myself, and I said no, they told me, well, then we can't help you, and we don't need to help you if you're not going to hurt yourself or hurt anyone else. So they kicked us out, or told us to go away, whatever, turned us down. And so I couldn't get any proper help. And I had been to Scripps Mercy, but they only let me stay 2 weeks in their psychiatric hospital. And so then what happened is, in the Ray high rise, in the apartment of Roman Lopez, who's from Mexico City, um, from what I heard. Uh, don't really know the guy that well, but he's definitely a scumbag, because he started sexually harassing me. He could see that I was hallucinating and not well. And while I was taking a shower, he came in and tried to look at me naked while I was showering. Um, and so when I got out of the shower, dried up, got dressed up, still hallucinating, but was able to at least, still have good hygiene, shower and all that. But uh, I, because of the hallucinations, I thought that uh, it was my apartment. I didn't really understand at the time that it was his apartment. I was so delusional, mentally ill, that I thought it was my apartment and that he was an intruder. Um, and he some of my property was in a room where he went in, and there's these pictures of me as a baby that were on the floor, because we hadn't like gotten well organized, so just barely moved in. And there's a picture of me as a toddler on the beach, looking at the view, and I was sucking on my thumb, and he went like this to me. and was like making fun of me. And I then started to punch him in the face, and my mother was pulling me away from him, and he was, and went inside his closet and was like trying to close the door, but I was still like able to punch him in the face through the space. And he then went to get security, and the security guard told me, "I'm going to arrest you now." And because of the hallucination, mental illness, what I heard this voice say, "You're a Jew," and I am 12% Ashkenazi Jewish. I'm Mexican white and Ashkenazi Jewish. Small percentage of Ashkenazi and Mexican, mostly white, whatever, doesn't matter. But um, so what went through my head, you know, was, "You're persecuting me because I'm Jewish." The guy was Arab. I didn't know for sure he was Arab, but he kind of did seem like an Arab. I later found out he probably was by his Arab sounding name, or he could have been something similar to Arab, like Kurdish. Who knows what he exactly was? I can't even remember the guy's name. I don't even have all these documents from court, like about, you know, my case. Um, I want to get all of that. And so when he said, "I'm going to arrest you," I heard this voice, and I felt like this weird electrical shock go through my shoulder. And I heard a voice said, "You never should put a Jew in prison." Now, I understand that Jews should not be above the law, right? But like I said, just mental illness, schizophrenia, and all that. And also, I was taking risperidol, which was given to me by, I think it was Jane Weston, or no, it was Scripps Mercy that prescribed it to me. I think I also been, maybe it was also Paradise Valley Hospital that prescribed it to me. But anyways, I was smoking weed and taking risperidol. Also the stress of homelessness, and also I might have had some kind of concussion or brain injury from the INM, the Mexican immigration of the Mexican government. They mugged me when I was crossing on foot into Tijuana. They beat me up, stomped on my head. It was like a dozen of them just stomping on my head, kicking me, telling me "fuck your mother," um, just calling me a local and "fuck your mother," and just stomping on my head. They stole my passport, my cell phone, my money, my backpack, headphones, my book that had my backpack. And so I think maybe I was also experiencing like some kind of brain injury or concussion because of the Mexican Federal Immigration Customs um, cops officers. Um, and so yeah, I did, punch many times that security guard of the Ray High Rise. Um, I'm sorry, whoever he is, whatever his name is. I don't know his name. I'll have to find out through accessing all the case files. Um, however, um, you know, he should have known that I was mentally ill because I was acting strange. My mother was telling him that I'm bipolar. She kept making the mistake of not telling anyone that I was also schizophrenic. She just always would tell people he's bipolar, but wouldn't explain to people that it's schizoaffective bipolar or something like that. And I think then later they changed it to just schizophrenic or something. But um, also I was like getting really close to his face and looking into his eyes before I beat him up, and thought that he was some kind of reptilian alien because he did have like a seemed like slit. His pupils like were like crocodile slits, and he had like a weird yellowish eye color, and so that I was getting real paranoid about that too. I'm embarrassed of all this behavior and that mental illness I used to have. Very embarrassed, right? But I need to talk about it because the way mentally ill Americans are treated is worse than animals, worse than cattle and street dogs. Um, the American government hates Latinos and minorities and people that have faith in God, people that are Christian, um, poor people, working class people. The American government is controlled by Satanists, Freemasons, pedophiles, British royalty, um, and so back to what happened. I then was arrested. He got up. He was able to get up when I was beating him up. He fell to the ground. I stopped. And, he was able to get up, and then he got in the elevator and called the cops. I went back into the apartment and just sat down. Um, when it came to the security guard, it felt like I was demonically possessed because, when I talk about this, people say you're making excuses, you don't want to take responsibility for your actions. That's not the case. Demonic possession is a real thing. Before I became Christian, I was involved a little bit, in witchcraft, spells, Wiccanism. Wasn't an expert in it, but was dabbling in it, watching YouTube videos about it. I don't remember reading in depth any books about it, but definitely watching a lot of YouTube videos about it and like uh, learning a few spells, mostly just about making money, like on the internet. Uh, I would look up spells on the internet about making quick money with witchcraft, to be more clear. And so I think maybe that kind of played a part in getting demonically possessed. And it's not an excuse. It's not avoiding responsibility. Okay. I'm tired of people always saying that to me. Even in prison, people would say that to me. It's like, come on, dude. We're in the same boat and whatever. Um, Demonic possession is a real thing. If you do witchcraft, black magic, spells, things like that, it can get you demonically possessed. Messing with tarot cards, trying to sell your soul to the devil, Ouija boards, all these things can get you demonically possessed. It happened to me, which is not why now I am a Christian. I believe in the Lord Jesus Christ now. Um, I really hope I can be forgiven for having dabbled in esotericism and witchcraft and magic. Um, so yeah, then the San Diego Police Department came to the apartment and said my full name to step out of the apartment. They had a dog barking at me, ready to just eat me to death, and it was barking at me. If someone's mentally ill, why would you bring a dog to start barking at him? You guys have guns. You guys have like a whole army of cops. Like, what do you need a dog for with a mentally ill person? You're trying to get my throat and neck ripped apart. Okay, fuck you, San Diego Police Department. Um, and then when uh, I was sent to the county jail here in downtown San Diego, um, Central County Jail, and from day one they put me in ADSEG, which is solitary confinement. You don't really ever get to leave the cell. If you do, it's not to get to hang out in the day room or the yard. It's just for a medical checkup or something. And so they put me the sheriffs of San Diego County, they tortured me. They um, put me in a cell that was covered with shit all over the walls. They had me butt naked in the cell. I had a smock, but it kept falling off because the Velcro wasn't working. So I was pretty much butt naked in a cell, and um, the toilet wouldn't work, wasn't flushing for days, maybe weeks. I don't know how much time I was in that situation of no running water in the sink, so I was dehydrated. Um, I don't know for how long because I had no way of knowing the hour, the day, you know, the day of the month, day of the week, the hour. I had no idea, no way of knowing. They wouldn't tell me, so I might have been dehydrated for even more than 3 days. Who knows? And um, I was not being provided psych meds. They were giving me pills of some kind. I don't know what they were for. I don't know if they were psych meds or something else. They didn't tell me. They didn't ask me what I need. From what I remember, they didn't ask me right away until months later if I have any mental illness or anything like that. Um, and there was a little slot door thing in the cell door where they would pass the food through, and I don't know exactly why I did this. Again, it's just the mental illness. I stuck my whole arm through it and refused to take it out, and they started beating my arm. I think with their baton, hard to remember, but I remember getting my arm beat, and uh, then they started smashing my hand on the door slot, and it caused my finger, my middle finger right here, to be cut open and bleed. And it took them, I think, days to then get me stitches on my finger, maybe even weeks. And yeah, they were laughing at me, and uh, as I had my arm through the door slot, they peppers this Asian guy, maybe he was a Filipino. Um, the Filipinos of San Diego, from my experience, they really hate us Latinos. Not sure why. Maybe because of the Spaniards colonizing them. I don't know. I've heard some Filipinos say that they have resentment about that. I don't see why they have resentment about that if the Americans are doing the same thing to them. The Philippines is pretty much a colony too of the USA, the U.S. Navy and Air Force, and but you Filipinos are a bunch of Uncle Toms, because you love the American white man, but you have resentment towards the Spaniards. Okay, well, thanks to the Spaniards that you guys, some of you guys are a little more light skinned than other Filipinos that don't have Spanish blood, in my opinion. But whatever. Um, so this Asian guy, possibly a Filipino, was pepper spraying me as I had my arm through the door slot, in the mouth, in the eyes, the whole face. And because I was mentally ill, I was just like, and it was just all getting in my mouth, and I was actually swallowing it, and it was burning my stomach. Um, yeah, so then I think maybe a month later, a few weeks later, can't remember exactly. Might have just been a few weeks later. Uh, after coming back from court, and also after having been threatened with 15 years in prison by the DA, from what the public defender I had told me, that I was facing the possibility of 15 years. So on top of, you know, the torture, the the finger being cut open. I don't know if you can see. I might still have a visible scar. Yeah, you can kind of see it on camera, right? You see this scar. Yeah, and it still hurts, for me to carry carry things with this finger. Doesn't hurt my hand or the other fingers, but any kind of weight that I put right here, it does hurt. And so coming back from court, where they never give me a chance to share my side of the story, they never give me a chance to uh, ask questions or see any kind of paperwork, no opportunity to even really talk to my public defender, just shuffling me through like cattle, with chains on, handcuffs on my wrist and my ankles, and waking me up at like 2 a.m., not letting me get any sleep to go to court. And before you go to court, you're just sitting in a cell by the, you know, exit of the county jail before you get put in a bus where you're just crammed this little space, and dozing off, like you're sleep deprived, dozing off. And they do that on purpose because they want you to be fatigued when you're going to court so you cannot defend yourself properly. Very evil. You, American government, you are so evil. I can't wait for Jesus Christ to return and just bring justice, because you people are scum. You're Nazis. You really are. I hate you people so much. Oh my goodness. I'm exposing you all, and we're gonna get justice for Elisa Serna. Everybody look up Elisa Serna and Saving Lives in Custody, California. All right, I'll talk more about that later. But so coming back from court, I was in the elevator, and I was hearing these voices saying they're gonna kill you because you know the truth about a lot of things. You know the truth about fractional reserve banking, fiat currency, Federal Reserve, Rothschilds, the fact that the USA government blew up the Twin Towers on 9/11 and Building 7 and killed and assassinated people that survived, that spoke out about the truth, about that it was bombs and not just airplanes alone. Um, and even more things than that I know about, I know the truth about Freemasons and secret societies. The fact that the government killed John F. Kennedy, the government killed Abraham Lincoln, but that's a long time ago. It's not as relevant in a way. And so I was paranoid, mentally ill, I was feeling suicidal at that time when I was in county jail in 2019, also because of the fact that I was possibly facing 15 years. And so I wanted to just commit suicide by cop. And so I defecated in the elevator floor and picked it up and smacked a sheriff in the face with it. He tried to tase me, but he missed because he's a bad aim. He's, a sissy. And uh, then he like tried to tackle me. As he tried to tackle me, well, he did tackle me. I smacked him in the face with my feces. Even before that, I was already like throwing it everywhere, and all the sheriffs got it on their desk, their computer, all over the place, on their clothes. They deserved it because they were torturing me, dehydrating me, had me naked in a cell for a long time. Um, uh, yeah, I don't feel guilty about that. I think they deserve that. I'm not gonna do it again, but they did deserve it. They're evil people. San Diego sheriffs, you are evil people. Um, and oh, if anyone didn't know, there was a San Diego sheriff that actually went to prison for being a pedophile. There are pedophiles in the San Diego sheriffs. Um, so after I gassed that sheriff, smacked him in the face with my feces, and it was very, very mushy and wet. Um, so yeah, his whole face was covered in it, and I think it's hilarious. Even prison clinicians, when I would tell them about it, would laugh about it. uh, uh, Whoever you are, sir, you need to stop being a sheriff because you're torturing poor people and mentally ill people and minorities. Okay? I'm not sorry for what I did to you, sheriff. Uh, you deserved it for the human rights violations that you do, that you all are involved in, and for the death of Elisa Serna. So after I did that gassing, even though I just let them tackle me to the ground and handcuff me, they still, even as I was just laying down, face down on the ground, not resisting, they continued to stomp on my head and kick me all over my body, and they kept saying stop resisting, even though I wasn't resisting. I was just laying there, letting them handcuff me face down on the floor, and they just, because they're liars, they just, for their own legal defense in the future, they pretended that I was resisting by saying stop resisting. Cops do that a lot. They'll torture and murder someone that isn't resisting and say stop resisting while they're doing it, so that they can pretend like um, you know they were as if the person being arrested, the suspect, whatever inmate, is trying to make them look like they're the bad guy. Um, and I did say while they were beating the crap out of me, Lord Jesus Christ, please let me die right now. Lord Jesus Christ, make me die right now is what I said. And when I said that, I think that's when they actually stopped stomping on my head and kicking my entire body. Maybe they decided to not give me what I wanted, um, which is great because now I get to expose them as a free man. I'm not on parole anymore. uh, and after that gassing, they strapped me to like this stretcher type of thing and then threw me butt naked in a cell with nothing in it, no bed, no sink, no toilet. There's this hole in the ground with uh metal bars, and it kept flushing automatically on its own. I guess that was the toilet right there. And so I'm just butt naked in this empty cell, and these these COs. There's this really short Hispanic looking sheriff that kept coming up the window and looking at my genitals and licking his lips like, so he was a predator, a sexual rapist predator. um Kept cussing him out, and they were creeps. They're like staring at me through the window, you know fuck you, San Diego sheriffs and San Diego police department, you fucking Nazi scumbags. We're all a bunch of fucking sellouts to the Illuminati and the Freemasons and the Rothschilds. Hope you all fucking burn in hell for all eternity. Um, and yeah, I was in county jail for, I'd say, I think around 8 months. The whole time I was in ADSEG. It was brutal. I was very suicidal. It only made my mental illness worse. Um, I don't know how to describe what it's like to be in solitary confinement. It is the most horrible thing I've ever experienced in my entire life, and I think I was able to survive because of my faith in Jesus Christ. My mom sent me the Bible and kept reading it, and I'll try to meditate sometimes. Also, I'm intelligent and I have a wild imagination, so I was able to just go into my own little fantasy land in my imagination and just, daydream and fantasize of a better reality. Um, yeah, so I went to reception at Chino, I think for just a month or two. Wasn't that long. And I don't really have anything dramatic to talk about from that experience. But trying to think, what can I talk about that happened at reception? Nothing really interesting to talk about with that, I guess. Um, and so then when I went to then after reception, I was sent to RG Donovan, and that's where I did my entire prison term. I was on A yard and I was EOP. Uh, I kept going back and forth between building 1 and building 2. I think I did most of my time in building 1. Started out in building 1, then did like almost a year in building 2, and then the rest of the term in building 1. And so the first, so I got to Audrey Donovan in December, I think December 23rd or 24th of 2019. As the first day I arrived there and I was in the R&R, there's this Asian nurse, maybe she was like Korean American, that, asking me, "Are you suicidal?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm very suicidal because I'm in prison." And she's like, "Well, it's only for 8 years." And I'm like, "That's a long time to me." And she's like, "It's not a long time." I'm like, "Yes, it is. 8 years is a long time." "No, it's not." And she's an idiot. It wasn't helpful at all. And so when you tell them you're suicidal, they handcuff you and throw you naked in a cell uh, with no property, um, not even a blanket, just like a thin little sheet, and they have you just like in this smock with Velcro that doesn't work, and so it keeps falling off, and you're pretty much naked and freezing. It's freezing cold in there. The food, disgusting, and they have uh, someone, I forget what they're called, some kind of technician or whatever bullshit label title they give them, that just watches you through the window the whole time. And I was there maybe a day or two, and then I went to the cell, and I had this cellmate. It was an old Mexican American man. What was his name? Uh, Lucio Reyes, I think was his name. He was an asshole. But we never got into a fist fight or anything like that. No violence, but he was just always he was a verbally abusive. Always talking shit, criticizing, and just eating up all my food, and didn't even want to help me out with anything. Didn't even sometimes want to carry the very canteen that he was gonna eat. Just laying on his ass all the time, and he thought he was so much better than me because he was a narco junior. His dad was a rich drug lord, and he always talk shit, because he thought he was so much better than me for being from a rich family, narco drug lord family. He's just a piece of shit scumbag. Um, and so then COVID started. The COVID lockdown started uh, early 2020, right? March, January, February, around there. January, February, March 2020. And so, yeah, we were just like trapped in our cells. They wouldn't let us out of our cells because of the COVID quarantine, and that drove me crazy because I was finally getting to enjoy uh, going to the yard, getting sunlight, exercise, interacting with other prisoners, making friends, having fun. And then bam, it's like ADSEG all over again, solitary confinement all over again, but now with a fucking asshole uh, narco Mexican American old man that was in a lifer pretty much, that had murdered his friend for no reason, shot him in the face, pretty much, I guess, because he owed him money. But he kept denying that he didn't murder him because he owed him money. It was just an accident. It's like, dude, you admitted that he owed you money, and he said he shot him right in between the eyebrow, between the eyes. I mean, how is that an accident? That's like accidentally shooting, the bullseye of a target. So he was a total piece of shit liar, terrible at lying, didn't even know how to lie really good. Um, and so I'm trapped in the cell all day, every day, for months, for like a whole year with this guy almost, and barely any room to move or walk around. I had the urge to just always pace, and back and forth. And thankfully, he didn't mind that too much. Other people would have definitely minded and hated that. Um, and then uh, they moved him to another building, so he was no longer my cellmate. And then I was alone without a cellmate for a week or two. And then they brought this guy in named Jimmy Grover, who was half white, half Japanese. And right off the bat, the guy starts, saying, "We're gonna get in a fight one day." He didn't say why, just like saying, "We're gonna fight one day," just all casually, like all nonchalant, like, "We're gonna fight one day. We're still gonna be brothers, but we're gonna fight one day here in the cell." And he had really bad gas. He was farting just, I'm not even exaggerating. He was farting nonstop, like almost every few minutes. And it was really loud and really stinky, like rotten eggs. And he would do it like right next to me, walking right in front of me as I'm sitting on my bunk. Excuse me. I really think the state of California, CDCR, sheriffs, San Diego Police Department, they were all involved in trying to get me murdered in prison. I think they purposely sent Jimmy Grover to provoke me and get me into a cell fight with him, with his constant threats, raising his voice at me, demanding I give him, you know, my canteen so he could buy Suboxone to get high. Um, just farting too much right next to me, like sometimes almost in my face as I'm sitting on my bunk, and he's got like his ass literally like in my face pretty much. So he was, I think the CDCR sent him to provoke me and get me to murder him or get him to murder me. They probably wanted us to both murder each other pretty much. They did it intentionally. Hey CDCR, fuck you fucking scumbags. California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation is corrupt, and they go out of their way to get prisoners murdered. There were many prisoners that got murdered on A Yard, and these COs, they 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 set it up on purpose. Especially guys like Sergeant Shepard, Sergeant Kilo, uh, Officer Trevino. Um, who else? What's that other guy's name? Um, gosh, I can't remember his name. He was a real piece of shit. That's what they want. They want us to forget their names. But I remember you, Sergeant Shepard, and Tyrones, you fucking loudmouth, bully cunt, fucking lesbian. Fuck you, Officer Tyrones, fucking loudmouth, fucking miserable bitch with no fucking life. Get a fucking life. Just you can't all day long yelling. You can hear her across the yard yelling at everybody, provoking everybody into attacking her, or just like, getting in people's faces. She's just a horrible, shitty person. Um, uh, gosh, trying to remember this one this one SEAL's name. There was Trevino, Shepard, Kilo. These were some of the most corrupt uh, COs that I encountered that did really bad things to me. Damn. Yeah, I wish I could remember the guy's name. Damn it. Anyways, so this guy Jimmy Grover, he was doing tattoos on me. They turned out terrible, as you can see. This is Star David. But he was terrible at it because the ink wouldn't. There was no ink. Sometimes it was like doing it, constantly doing it, and there wasn't even any ink. And he was just purposely like trying to torture me. And no matter how many times I would tell him, I don't want these tattoos anymore. They suck. They're no good. You don't know what you're doing, man. And he would raise his voice at me, cuss at me, telling me that I made him do all this hard work for nothing, all these drawings he did, raising his voice at the top of his lungs at me, and always like insulting me, telling me that I'm a bitch, I'm a pussy, uh, just telling me that he wants to date my mom and my aunt because he saw my picture, my family pictures. Um, and I just couldn't take it no more after a few months. Yeah, we got into a fight, and when I was before the fight happened, I was yelling out the door to um, the COs like Trevino and his name starts with an S. What's his name? Anyways, as I was yelling out to these COs to come help me because my cellmate wants to fight me, um, the guy that I'm trying to remember his name of, he just went like from far away, uh, in the day room by the office, telling me, and I did a 602 about it. I could probably access one day with a subpoena or a lawyer, attorney, and I wrote his name down in that 602. But yeah, they wanted us to fight. They were trying to get me to do life in prison. Um, so then when the fight happened, and they showed up finally, taking their time, letting it go on a long time. Um, they cracked open the door, pepper sprayed me in the face, and I got down on the ground. They wanted me to get down on the ground even before opening the door, and I refused. I'm like, open the door, let me out. I'm not getting on the ground with him in here and have him like end up stomping on me. And they just kept yelling, shut up, shut up. And they pepper sprayed me in the whole face, even though I wasn't trying to hurt them, fight them, or anything. And I wish I could remember that scumbag's name. I'll expose you, dude. I'm gonna remember your name and get access to my 602s and all that. Yeah, so I'm like crawling on my stomach out of the cell, and they're just yelling at me constantly, shut up, shut up. Um, and so, yeah, they charged me with battery with a deadly weapon because Jimmy Grover said that I hit him in the head with a hot pot, which was not true. And they took his side. I think because of the gassing that I did on the sheriff, the sheriffs and the COs, CDCR, they work together, right? And so I think the sheriffs were telling them to try to set me up to get constantly get charges, new charges added, and try to get me to do life in prison pretty much. And so they charged me with battery with a deadly weapon. um, they sent me to ADSEG. They let Jimmy Grover steal most of my property, like my clothes that my mom had bought me in packages, um, my electronics, and food, books, all kinds of property. And they had me in ADSEG for, which is solitary confinement, for about, I think, 2 months, and actually made me have like a hearing. It was almost like a little uh, trial, but it's a bullshit trial. Like you don't even get a public defender. I mean, they can charge you with a crime in prison and you don't even get to have a public defender. They have like this kangaroo court bullshit. It's ridiculous because they act like they're their own sovereign country in CDCR and they can just do whatever they want, and they have this god complex, and they're such narcissistic nihilists, fucking egotistical tyrants. They're so corrupt. I fucking hate you people. Hate you, CDCR. Hate you, state of California. People are evil. State of California hates poor people, working class people, and all minorities. Um, yeah, but then they were able to uh, drop the charges and just uh, drop it to fist fighting. But even though they dropped the charges, they kept telling me um, the DA still might pick it up one day. And I later, like years later, I found out that wasn't true. I think they just pretty much said that just to stress me out, cause me mental stress, emotional stress, because they're bullies, they're psychopaths, they're sadistic. And and then the next cellmate I had after coming out of ADSEG was a guy named Leobardo Mota, and he was a real piece of shit. You know, uh, he kept trying to get me to give him my canteen so he could get high on Suboxone, and that's all he ever wanted to do is just use my canteen to get high on Suboxone. And he was always just trying to use people for Suboxone, and he was a real piece of shit because he kept talking shit to me about uh, how I should be ashamed to have never been to GP, and I would keep telling him I don't give a shit about GP, SNY, any of that. I don't care about any of that shit. I just want my freedom. I just want to get out of here. And he kept dwelling on it and rubbing it in my face over and over and over and talking shit to me. He would be like, "Hey man, we need to make more conversation. I'm bored in the cell." And then I would make conversation with him about things I'm interested in. And he'd be like, "That's not true." And I'd be like, "Yeah, it is, man. It's true. I looked it up and researched. What about the facts? Don't argue with me. Don't argue with me. I don't like it when cellmates argue with me." He's a fucking idiot, dude. Like, what, you want all your cellmates to be your little fucking, uh, your little, like, ass kissing bitches? And the guy was shorter than me, too. People have some nerve, man. I'm 6'1", weigh like 200 pounds. I was 25 at that time, 32 now. I don't understand how people have the nerve to try to bully me being a big, strong guy. But anyways, um, yeah, that guy ended up going to a different cell, and he was able to do that by falsely accusing me of like trying to fight him, even though I wasn't. I was like really, really trying very, very hard to not fight. And he was a weirdo because he'd be like in the middle of the night saying, "Fuck you, bitch, you fucking faggot." And I'm like, talking to me, "No, no, I was just responding to something I heard on the radio." I'm like, "Bro, come on, man, I'm trying to sleep." And he will always want the lights on all night long. I couldn't sleep. And then he's like talking in the middle of the night. He's a total piece of shit. I fucking hate you, Leobardo Mota. But he's doing 20 years or more. I think he's actually a lifer, but he has the chance of parole in 20 years. He'll probably be dead by then, though, because he's a piece of shit drug addict. You know, I'm not saying all drug addicts are a piece of shit. I'm just saying he's a piece of shit, and he's a drug addict, and that's gonna cause him probably to die. Being a drug addict in prison with no money, yeah, he's gonna end up getting the debt, getting stabbed to death probably. But yeah, he ended up moving with another guy that was being prescribed Suboxone, and he's just manipulating the guy, and the guy knew it, and he was resentful about it. Um, and then the next cellmate I ended up having after that, and they forced me to find a cellmate. Oh, I rejected, I refused a cellmate that they tried to give me, and they gave me a write-up called delaying a peace officer, and I actually got time added to my sentence, like a month, I think, just for refusing a cellmate. So these are the conditions of prison. You are constantly getting time added to your sentence for the pettiest bullshit, because they want you to die there. They want you to be there your whole life till the day you die. That's the intention of the state of California and the American government. They want all poor people to die. They want all minorities to die. And the next cellmate I had after that was Michael Allen. I went up to him, asked him if he wanted to be cellmates because, I didn't really know anyone else, and I kind of knew him a little bit, was just barely starting to get to know him. But, Michael Allen, he's a piece of shit. He's got tattoos all over his face. He's a total drug addict, injects his veins with uh, Suboxone, and he does meth. and uh, he seemed cool at first, and then he started being a bully and making threats to me and talking shit, being really, really bossy. Every little thing I was about every little thing, my laundry, doing my laundry, trying to boss me around about how to do my laundry, and just trying to like be super intimidating all the time. And then he like uh, threatened threatened to fight me if I didn't leave the cell, and so I didn't want to get another cell fight after what I went through with Jimmy Grover and get some false accusation, false charges, you know, and end up with another strike or more years added to my sentence. And so I'm embarrassed of this, but I didn't really have much of a choice from the point of view that I had at that time. Um, so I started yelling to the COs out the cell, like, "Hey, let me out! My cell is trying to fight me. Let me out of here!" And then all like a lot of inmates were like mocking me, making fun of me, and so I started saying, "I'm suicidal. I'm suicidal." And he recommended that I say that. He's like, "You should say you're suicidal, so they'll let you out sooner." And so yeah, they sent me to crisis bed, and they let there was this Filipino CO. I don't know his name, but Trevino was one of the COs at that time that let Michael Allen steal pretty much most of my property. I had like hundreds of dollars worth of canteen and packaged food, and he stole pretty much almost all of it. Left me with just like a handful of stuff so he could lie. Oh God, I hate these people so much. Like people like Michael Allen and Trevino and that Filipino CO. God, you people are so evil. I can't wait for Jesus Christ to return. Please, Jesus Christ, bring justice to this world. Please. The American government is so evil. People in San Diego, so many people in San Diego are so evil. God, fuck you, Trevino. Fuck you, Sergeant Shepard. Fuck you, Sergeant Kilo. And fuck you, Tyronus. Yeah, so I was in crisis bed for a little while, a few days maybe. And so, yeah, then when I came back, um, oh, and that Filipino CO, when I told him that like, hey man, because I had they made me sign a receipt that about them like putting all my property together in boxes and stuff, and I'm like, hey man, this doesn't say that all my property is here. He's like, well, that's what you get for going to Crisis bed. He's a piece of shit, man. I went to Mira Mesa High School, and those Mira Mesa Filipinos are not all of them, but like the vast majority of them are some real pieces of shit. They're brainwashed by the military, the Air Force, and all that, and they're just these total slaves, sheeple, herd mentality, fucking uh, Uncle Tom, government ass kissing, fucking classist bullies, you know. And this is very painful for me to talk about. Oh God, so painful. It really is. You're evil, American government. You are really, really evil. Ah, God. All right. And so the next thing that happened was when I came back a few days later, as I as I was in the pill line, um, Michael Allen, they made me still be in the same building as him and just a few cell doors down away from him on purpose. Again, they're all about setting you up to experience more violence, to get in more trouble, to get more time added to your sentence because they hate Latinos, minorities, poor people, people that are awake from the matrix, people that are Christian, people that know how the world really works, and who really runs the world, like the Rothschilds and the British royalty, the black nobility, all that, secret societies, um, the deep state, CIA, all the three-letter agencies. And yeah, so I was in the pill line, and Michael Allen, you like come stomping down the stairs, and starts assaulting me, beating me up, you know, and I don't fight back, and I just put my arms in front of my face, and um, then these COs have the nerve to like be saying to me, "Do you owe money, white?" So they're immediately on his side. So it's the same bullshit. They're picking on me and setting me up, probably even encouraging him to bully me, you know? God, I fucking hate you COs so much. Fucking hate you people. People are evil. Anyways, yeah, a lot of the inmates, you know, they saw that, started picking on me because they thought I was weak for not defending myself, making fun of me and shit. And after that, you know, I remember uh, after that, I remember that I had this the next celly I had, or no, not after that, but like during that time, immediately coming back from crisis bed, I had this cellmate that was like a middle-aged Hispanic crazy guy that was just filthy, you know, like he would wipe his ass with the toilet water instead of toilet paper, and just sloppy, messy, dirty, talking to himself all day long, pacing back and forth, not letting me pace at all. Sometimes, you know, very rarely gave me the chance to pace around a little bit in the tiny crammed cells. And and there's so many more details about, I could get into even more details about even more things, but um, I want to focus more on the more dramatic stuff, the more serious, you know, abuse. Um, yeah, and so, and then after not wanting to be with that guy as a cellie, I went. There's this short old black guy that kept coming up to me, like, "You can be cellies with me. You can be cellies with me." And so we arranged it after trying hard for weeks to be cellies. And within just a few days, then he starts tells me I gotta go, I gotta leave because he doesn't like how I'm not making enough conversation and stuff like that. And he kicked me out and told the COs he doesn't want me in the cell, and that I'm acting weird, even though I was just really quiet, just trying to sleep all day. And he was being really bossy, telling me to not flush too much after I take a shit, that he wants to smell my shits. Can't even remember the guy's name. What the hell was that guy's name? He was such a weirdo. Um, Wanted me to like throw all my books away, give them all away, even though they were like brand new. Just being super bossy and making fun of me for what happened with Michael Allen. And so when he kicked me out and you know, he had my stuff already packed up, kind of, uh, and he was out of the cell, and the SEALs were letting me go into that cell to carry my stuff out and move in with an even crazier guy that would scream all night long. And so what I did to his property, you know, was I did destroy his property, poured water all over his electronics and stuff as revenge. I was like, I was ready to snap. I was so tired of being bullied constantly. And and so yeah, then the next celly I had was this guy that was just filthy, you know, like um, he'd be screaming and talking to himself all night long. Oh God, I fucking hate you, Kilo, Sergeant Kilo, because she was the one that fucking made me move in with that guy. I really felt like punching those CEOs in the face. God, they're such evil people. I fucking hate you, American government. I do not pledge allegiance to the United States of America. You are the Antichrist, United States of America. You are the Antichrist. You're not the number one Antichrist that will arrive in the book of Revelation, but you are definitely Mystery Babylon the horror. the United States of America government is Mystery Babylon the Whore. Um, Eventually, I was able to move out of. God, these COs are such bullies, man. It's just wow. When I look back on what I went through, it's like I was just surrounded by thousands of evil people, COs, clinicians, psychiatrists, the prisoners. And I remember a CO that I told, hey man, if you guys don't move me out of this cell with this crazy guy, I'm gonna have to beat the crap out of him because I cannot put up with this anymore. I cannot get any sleep. You're not gonna do anything, White. And I think I said something along the line of like, oh yeah, then why do you think I'm in prison? And I wanted to tell him, fuck you, but I was still kind of like new and afraid of the COs. But the more time I ended up doing, the more I started standing up for myself and speaking up against COs, and I actually started to bully them because they were bullying me. So later on, like my last couple years, I actually started to bully them back, and that did make them respect me more because they're cowards. Um, God, they're so evil. Anyways, I was able to then get a different celly. After that, um, who was? Oh, the next celly after that, I think was a really old black man that was pretty friendly for the most part, but he kept thinking that I had COVID just because I had to always like blow my nose. I have allergies, and he didn't believe those allergies. He's like, "You have COVID. Quit bullshitting." And then he later ended up moving out. And after living with that guy, I then moved in with a guy who's I happen to still remember his name, Loyola, and he was a pretty friendly guy. He was like the only friendly cellmate I ever had. But I didn't last too long with him because then I was able to get my single cell status because I kept demanding it, doing um, 602s about it, and I was able to get my 1 month single cell chrono. But the guy that I was cellies with didn't want to move out even when I finally had my single cell chrono because Sergeant Shepard, he's corrupt. He was trying to bully me. He would like scream at me, "Shut up!" and like mad dog me after that. Like anytime I'd see him on the yard, Sergeant Shepard, you're a fucking pussy, dog. I challenge you to an MMA match, you fucking faggot ass pussy. But yeah, because Sergeant Shepard is corrupt, he allowed me and that celly to still be cellies for like almost I think 2 weeks while I had my 1 month single cell chrono because he's corrupt and they didn't give a shit. But then when I was able to talk to a sergeant that I saw on the yard in front of the building, I told him, "Hey man, I'm single cell right now, and I'm still being made to have a celly." And I think around that time there's finally cameras everywhere, body cams and cameras all over the buildings, in the yard, everywhere. So then they started following rules a little more and being a little less corrupt and treating us a little bit better. And so that sergeant did help me to uh, then have my own cell. He made someone else move out that was already by himself but didn't have a single cell status, and then I moved in. But we had to like pressure them and guide them because they're morons and they're corrupt and they're lazy. The CDCR COs are all a bunch of lazy, fat, evil, corrupt morons. Especially Sergeant Shepard. He's the biggest piece of shit CO I'd ever met, for sure. Him and Trevino and the Filipino guys and ah that other guy. Um, what was his name? Salas, right? Was it Salas? Officer Salas. Yeah, he's the one that encouraged the sulfite. I think it was Officer Salas. I think I'm not sure exactly if it was Salas. It was something with an S. But anyways, so yeah, I finally had my single cell, and I had to do 602s about it and request my American Disabilities Act rights, because of the mental illness. I was saying that I'm not compatible with cellmates, not safe, and they kept these clinicians and psychiatrists and psychologists. They kept trying to not give it to me and kept talking shit to me and telling me just put up with cellies, just get an old guy, just get an old guy. It'll be better. You just get an old guy. And but because of my 602s, my ability to write really well, even without me being an expert in the law or CDCR rules and all that, and the DM or whatever it's called, the DOM, I think I was still able to get it somehow. But then I got better at doing those 602s for my single cell status. Um, got more professional at the technical reasons why I'm supposed to have it, because that information is in the DOM, which is like the rule book, like the law book of CDCR pretty much. And so yeah, I started out with a 1 month single cell status chrono, then a 6 month, and then it became a 1 year. And so my last 3 years of prison, I was able to do it all with single cell status. Thank God. If it weren't for that, either I would have gotten murdered or would have had to, in self-defense, murder a cellmate that was trying to murder me. And I'm sure the American government would have loved that. CDCR would have loved that, because they're evil and they hate working class people and minorities and people that are, like I said, awake from the matrix, that have faith in Jesus Christ. I really think it's probably because of Jesus Christ that I'm still alive right now. I think He wants me to do what I'm doing right now. I don't know for sure, but I have a sense that maybe Jesus Christ wants me to speak out against the evil American government, the evil CDCR, San Diego Police Department, San Diego Sheriffs, San Diego County. This whole city and county is run by very evil people. Um, and Stefan Summers is the DA of San Diego. Uh, she was the DA at the time that I got prosecuted. Um, so then I remember things kind of started to calm down for me. I think with my single cell, I was able to live more peacefully. And there's this guy named Tristan King. He's a black guy from Compton. Um, I never liked him. He was a bully. But then he started like trying to pretend to be my friend. He'd be like, "I'm your friend, White." He literally make these kind of facial expressions. "I'm your friend, White." These people are so evil that they don't even know how to like disguise how evil they are. They're such idiots, you know. And but because I was bored and lonely, and not gonna lie, isolated, friendless. It was SNY, so you don't really have a gang to join. You don't have your race backing you up against other races or anything like that. No rules really. So yeah, I put up with this piece of shit, Tristan King, that kept pretending to be my friend, kept trying to, get food out of me and books out of me, and I wish I would have stood up to him sooner, but being really scared of these strikes that they can give you so easily and charges, I was really, really scared of getting a strike or more years. I had to do my sentence because I knew they just couldn't wait to find a reason to do it. It's incredible that I was able to get out. Yeah. You're going down, CDCR and state of California. You're going down. You people are evil. Um, I'm going to speak out against you people so much. Yeah. So, um, I'm not going to get into too much detail about Tristan King. I'll just say, though, he was a very manipulative guy trying to get as many resources from me as he could: hygiene, food, books. He was into the whole sovereign citizen thing. He really, really believed in it. He even wanted me to give him my social security number, and uh, he would make up his own bullshit contracts and try to get me to sign them to agree to let him like buy my birth certificate according to sovereign citizen law or some shit like that. He believed that he could become a secured party creditor, and then he wouldn't have to follow the laws of the USA, and he could get hundreds of millions of dollars from like the Federal Reserve or something like that, or the Treasury, American Treasury. Um, anyways, I did end up getting in a fight with him because he started like threatening to kill my family and just kept mocking me constantly. He told me that I would suck dick for my freedom because of how I was trying to like avoid trouble with people and fights and write-ups and charges and catching cases. Like, you would suck dick for your freedom. You're gonna get your ass cheeks spread wide open. I'm like, whoa, dude, what the hell? You can't fucking talk to me like that, dude. Um, yeah. So we got into a fist fight, but he was a coward, so he tried to get all his like black friends, like a whole group of them, to fight me. Well, actually, I didn't even really fight him. I tried to fight him because I was sick and tired of him bullying me. But he had his dumbass friend, a black guy, like a chubby black young guy. Uh, can't even remember the idiot's name, but that guy ended up fighting me, and I didn't do a good job of fighting. Maybe it was the psych meds that was making me like all tired. It was those psych meds were definitely making me want to like sleep all day. But also the fear of like hurting someone too much and then catching a case kind of would make me like not really put my best effort into fist fights. And my whole prison term, I think I only got into 3 fist fights, and they were all self-defense. And what's so crazy about that is that even with me having so few fist fights, these MDO psychiatrists still use it against me to be like, "You're really violent. Why did you get into 3 fights?" Well, the one was a false accusation from Sergeant Kilo. I got sucker punched by a guy, and she still wrote me up for fist fighting, even though I never fought back. So, but these psychiatrists, these MDO psychiatrists, use that against me to be like, "You're really, really violent. You got into a lot of fights. You got into 4 fights in your 5.5 years of prison. You are so violent, and we're gonna send you to a Tascadero State Hospital." They MDO'd me, mentally disabled offender, all because of 4 fights, but it was really just 3 fights, and they were all in self-defense. Jesus, my goodness, evil people, man, evil ass people. And I want the American government to know, look, yeah, you guys are very powerful. Yeah, you're powerful. You're powerful people. You have nuclear bombs, trillions of dollars. You have an army, cops. But you know what? I'm not afraid of you guys anymore. Um, now that I have faith in Jesus Christ, there's really nothing you can do to me anymore. I'm not afraid to die. I don't want to die, but you can't use uh, death to intimidate me anymore, or even incarceration. I'm not going to break the law, but you can't use incarceration and arrest and violence to intimidate me or to silence me. I'm not going down without a fight. I'm not afraid to die. I love Jesus Christ and believe that I have a good chance of going to heaven if I follow him. And United States of America, State of California, CDCR, San Diego Police Department, you people are evil. Jesus Christ would be completely against the way you treat people. And I think maybe Jesus Christ is going to return soon, and you're all going to be punished for your cruelty and your crimes against humanity and the genocide that you commit. And, you murdering Elisa Serna. And you can't silence me. Even if you kill me, you would actually make me a martyr and get my message spread out even more. Um, yeah, so I'm not afraid to die. I'm not afraid of you, American government. You people are evil. You're pedophiles. You kill children. You're destroying nature. You serve Satan, and you're going down. Your era of reigning through satanic power is coming to an end soon, I think. And you can't scare me with your cops and your guns and your jails and prisons and your state hospitals. You look, you already took everything away from me that I had. I kind of had uh, a decent life. I had uh, friends and lovers in Tijuana, and you took that all away from me. You know, um, so you know, I don't really got much to lose, really. I don't even think that there's much of a future here in America, anyways. So, like, if you guys try to assassinate me or incarcerate me again, like, what does it matter? I mean, you've ruined this country anyways, so I mean, I can't even really get a wife and kids and buy a house because you destroyed that possibility through this wicked culture you created, and destroying the economy and the housing market, inflation and outsourcing of jobs, and um, your bureaucracy and red tape and your worthless piece of shit dollar. Um, so fuck you, American government. Fuck you, San Diego Police Department. Fuck you, San Diego Sheriffs. Fuck you, CDCR. Fuck you, Atascadero State Hospital. Fuck you, psychiatrists and psychologists. You're all evil. It's a pseudoscience. Um, yeah. So more about what I experienced in prison. You know, things were pretty chill after that compared to like the beginning. Um, I There was this guy named Conan that then started trying to bully me. I think his name was Michael Allen Conan, or just maybe Michael Conan. It's Coen. He was trying to bully everybody. The guy's like a devil worshiper with like satanic tattoos all over his scalp and his hands and arms. And um, the reason he hated me so much was because uh, he refused to hang up the phone when it was my phone appointment time. And so, and he was like, when I was politely telling him, he's like, I think he was like, shut the fuck up. I don't give a shit if it's your phone time. Can you see I'm talking? And so, yeah, I did snitch on him. I don't give a shit about the whole don't snitch bullshit because I don't give a fuck about your prison bullshit, scumbag, criminal values. Okay? I'll do whatever I want. I follow the Bible. I try to. So, your whole prisoner values and morals, which are all twisted and satanic, mean nothing to me. So yeah, I snitched on the guy, a CO. Went up to him, actually told him to hang up the phone. A lot of his friends, a lot of people in that building then started bullying me, calling me a snitch, and hating on me just because of that. They didn't care that he was bullying people. These prisoners, um, they'll hate someone that's snitching on people that are hurting other prisoners, stealing and hogging the phone, not letting people have their phone appointments, but they don't care about standing up to the guy that's actually doing bad things that makes him get snitched on, because they're all just scumbags, like their values are all just nonsense. Such evil morons. Um, but yeah, so then he after that he ended up like constantly mad dogging me, and then he would like bark in my face, and I cussed him out in front of everybody. And this there was like a CO telling me he was gonna write me up for yelling at him, and told me to go back to my cell and locked me in my cell and stuff. And then when I got my chance to come back out again and use the phone and finish using the phone, he like sucker punched me in the mouth, and I was gushing blood because I have braces. And so I was gushing blood from my lip, and so then they sent me to um, Alvarado Hospital in San Diego, and I got surgery on my lip. And there's this white guy physician that did the surgery, and he told me your braces suck, crappy braces, and he didn't want to do uh, the full stitches because um, he didn't want the guy that punched me to get more in trouble because he was probably a white supremacist. Because he even asked me, "What race is the guy that punched you in the mouth?" And when I told him he's white, and the doctor was white too, then he didn't want to do more stitches. Because if he would have done more stitches, which were necessary on the inner lip too, he only did the one like on the outer lip, but there was more that needed to be done on the inner lip, big chunk of flesh hanging down, and he didn't want to do it because then that Conan guy would have gotten a charge. Because I think if you need 6 stitches or more, then it's a charge. And he didn't say he didn't want the guy to get a charge, but when the other COs said, "Oh yeah, if he's got to get 6 stitches or more, then the guy that punched him is gonna have to get a charge at it." And the guy, the physician, is probably a white supremacist, and I'm half white. Well, actually, I'm more. I'm like 70% white. But this physician, he's racist. So he actually asked me, "What race is the guy that punched you?" And when I told him, he didn't want to keep doing more stitches on me. And this was at Alvarado Hospital. So I don't know what the name of that doctor is, but he's a bully and he's a racist, like a lot of people in San Diego, California. Um, and so when I got back to the building, my lips were like all swollen, and Michael Cohen kept making fun of me about how I have duck lips and laughing at me and stuff. And wow, this is such an evil country, huh? Evil world, evil country, evil city. Whew. Wow. And there's people that never have to go through this stuff, huh? People that just like live in their mansions in La Jolla and Rancho Santa Fe, never go through these things because they're the ones actually writing the laws and controlling the government, right? Oh my gosh, evil bastards. You're all going down. I'm not afraid of you people. I'm ready to die. Really am. I don't want to die, but I'm ready to die for the truth. Ready to die for Jesus Christ. We're ready to die for the truth, ready to die for speaking out. And so um after that, a lot of things happened after that, but it's already been an hour and 23 minutes, and think I'll talk about the more details later. But anyways, then when it was time for me to be released, they MDO'd me, which means mentally disabled offender, which means they forcibly, against my will, with coercion, sent me to a Atascadero State Hospital, even though it wasn't necessary. I wasn't getting the fights my last 3 years of prison, wasn't trying to commit suicide, wasn't going to crisis bed. Um, didn't get any write-ups at all my last 3 years of prison, and they still sent me to a Atascadero State Hospital. Why? Because the American government hates me for being Christian, for being awake from the matrix, for speaking truth, for not having gotten a college degree because I know it's a scam, for never having served in the U.S. military in this brainwashed, fascist, patriotic city of San Diego, California, which is a semi-federal city with a heavy presence of the military and the military-industrial complex. And so people worship the military here. And if you don't, they'll try to kill you pretty much, you know, if they ever get the chance, in a way where they can get away with it. Yeah, so to get MDO'd, I had to be interviewed by three psychiatrists that met me for the first and last times in their lives and only talked to me for about an hour. I think one said I do not need to be MDO'd, and two did, or maybe one did, only one did, and she was a woman. I think her last name was Loren, Dr. Loren, and she hated me because I was Christian, you know, and she was very like had a really angry look at on her face the whole time she was talking to me. She was very prejudiced and biased towards me, and she really hated me because I was Christian. Even with me having gotten released early for good behavior, she was just so judgmental and prejudiced towards me. I wish I would have threatened her with a lawsuit, you know, because I think other people had done that and it would scare them away. But yeah, she's a corrupt psychiatrist of CDCR, Loren. Yeah, she definitely hated me just for being Christian. She kept dwelling on the well, it was three fights, but they falsely charged me with another fight. So from her point of view, it was four fights. She dwelled on that a lot as if it was abnormal, even though that's actually rare for someone to have so few fights in prison. Most people have dozens. Some have hundreds, especially if they've been in prison for a decade or more. There's people that have been in hundreds of fights. And here Dr. Loren is dwelling on my three little self-defense fights over 5 years. She just hates me because I know the truth. Yeah, she probably read all my psychiatry and clinician notes and all the things I've said. Probably doesn't like that I'm awake from the Matrix. She's an Agent Smith, pretty much. So yeah, pretty much because of just one psychiatrist that met me for the first and last time in her life, and just for about 1 hour, I was kidnapped by CDCR and sent to Atascadero State Hospital in Atascadero, California. And luckily, I did not get civilly committed. I was released after 5 months. It was a horrible 5 months. Um, I was complaining about being there to the staff, and uh, they used force on me, manhandled me to strap me to a bed in a little room all night long, strapped by the arms and legs, um, like these leather straps to a bed, and it was uncomfortable, you know, because you can't like you start getting sore because you can't like move around. You're just like stuck there. Um, and there's this guy named DeAndre at a Atascadero State Hospital in the unit that I was in. I think I was in Unit 15, and then we moved because of a leaky roof ceiling. Moved to Unit 23. DeAndre was the biggest bully in that unit. He's a big white guy, just a total bully, just bossing everyone around and uh, you know reprimanding everyone over the pettiest little things. I would get my little passive aggressive revenge. I would spit on their office window when they weren't in there and no one was looking, and he would be like, "Who's spitting on the window?" And I would just be like giggling a little bit, you know. And I think he even asked me, like, "Why did you spit on the window?" But no, man, I'm a grown man, dude. I wouldn't do something mature like that. But yes, DeAndre, I did spit on your fucking window. You're a bitch ass fucking pussy, fucking bully. Why are you working in a psych hospital if you're not actually trying to help patients and you just want to bully them because you like bullying people, huh? That's just the only reason you want to work there. You're a fucking loser, dude. I will, I will sue you, DeAndre. And I did see him beat up uh, another Chicano half white guy. Uh, the guy stood up for himself and fought back though. And I did tell, you know, the staff there at the Atascadero State Hospital, if I get civilly committed, I swear to God, I will commit suicide here in the Atascadero State Hospital. But before I do, I will gas all of you. I will throw shit, piss, and cum at all of you. male and female, young and old, short, tall, I don't care. You people are evil and will deserve it, and I will assault all of you. And some people listening might think that was evil to say, uh, but who are you to judge? Because you were not kidnapped like I was and held hostage in a state hospital while on parole. Yeah, my first 5 months at Tascadero State Hospital, first 5 months of parole. Evil ass people there. Yep. And DeAndre, as when I finally got released, DeAndre told me as we were carrying my stuff, as I was carrying my stuff to the room where the exit is. He was like, you think they're gonna let you keep all your stuff? And so he pretty much said, I'm gonna steal all your shit because I don't like you for, the things you say. It's pretty much what he was saying. So yeah, DeAndre stole a lot of my property, my books and mail and legal documents and all that. Fuck you, DeAndre, from Atascadero, California, in the Atascadero State Hospital. I'm gonna sue your ass. I'm gonna win millions of dollars, millions and millions of dollars from these lawsuits. I'm already suing the Social Security Administration, being represented by a law firm on a contingency. And yeah, the cops at Atascadero State Hospital, they would steal my stuff too when they would do room searches. They would steal my stuff like toothpaste. Um, uh, and also the the cooks in the restaurant that they had there at Tuscadero State Hospital, they were bullies. They would yell at us and be really had an attitude and were really aggressive verbally and people couldn't read the menu sometimes because of bad eyesight, and they would be yelling, "Hurry up! Order! Hurry!" And they were all paisas, mean ass bully paisas. Yeah, very very mean people there. It was two women and one guy, all paisas. Um, but yeah, it was cool that they had a library at least at Atascadero, and so I was able to read a lot of cool books. And I did write a letter to the Church of Scientology while I was at Atascadero State Hospital because there were Scientology books there at Atascadero State Hospital. And it had the address of the Church of Scientology, and I asked the Church of Scientology for help. I asked them for help to get me out of there. They never responded, as far as I know. Maybe they did, but if they did, I never got it because I got released probably before they could respond. And yeah, so when I got released, when I was in the room where they're getting you ready to be released, like they're getting you handcuffed and leg chains and putting you in sweats and all that, and getting your property on a cart to be put in the van. They made us strip naked. I'm in my head I'm like, why do we have to strip naked to go home? Like, you're afraid of us carrying contraband to our home? How can we have contraband as a parolee coming from a state hospital? Like, you think we have access to knives and guns and drugs in a state hospital? They just want to humiliate us. They just wanted to humiliate us. And actually, when you get visits at RJ Donovan, and probably all prisons is the same thing, right? You have to strip butt naked. And when they're doing that to you, they don't care if the visitors can see you naked. They have windows there. They don't fully cover them up, and the SEALs are constantly coming in and out and letting everyone just see these prisoners butt naked with the door open. And they do it on purpose, trying to humiliate us, make you squat and cough. So yeah, I finished parole in September of 2025. Parole was making me go to Geo Reentry Services in Jefferson Street, Midway Town. What's it called? Midtown by Old Town Trolley Station. Yeah, that place is total bullshit. Everything they teach there is bullshit. Everyone that works there is lazy. They just want to sit on their ass and do nothing. Um, the other parolees, they're always talking shit to each other, insulting each other, trying to get each other provoked. It makes no sense. It's like, dude, why are you trying to get a parole violation for assault while you're at Geo Reentry Services? Is crazy. I mean, there's this guy Noah who would talk shit to me in front of the instructor during our classes while I'm like having to present like these homework assignment things, in front of everyone and talking shit to me because whatever. Let's not get into that right now. Uh, talk about that some other time. But anyways, what I'm saying is, even parole was trying to set me up to get in trouble and go back to prison because Jefferson Street is full of drug addicts, and it's like this kind of almost like a little back street full of drug addicts, just like overdosing on the street and bums on the street. And there's like a bridge there too, where all the bums would always like be sleeping and getting high, and cops constantly going there to arrest them and pat them down and stuff, stop and frisk them, and having to walk by these cops and bums and drug addicts overdosing, having to go to these classes with hater, naysaying, insecure, jealous, shit talking uh, parolees like Noah. Um, uh, yeah, and but I was able to, finish successfully. Took a lot of patience, just like prison. At first, they were making me go every single day, 7 days a week for like a whole 2 months, and then they started reducing it gradually to less and less, to the point where it became just eventually one class a week, and then just like two check-ins where I do a breathalyzer. But they're always drug testing me, and you know, but they did. It was nice of them to give me a monthly bus pass for free, and they would give us these little uh, coupons, you could call it, called GeoBucks for attending, where we could buy things from their store. But I still resent that I had to go to that bullshit place. Waste of time. And some of the staff there, they would talk shit to me. Like there's this Mexican American female that would like talk shit to me about how I need it. She would go like this, "Hey, get on it about how I need to like get a job and go to college and become successful." I think I even told her like, well, maybe if I didn't have to come to this fucking bullshit place, I would have more time to achieve my goals. And I can't remember what she responded. I think all the staff, they just got uncomfortable, like like they just went like that. Yeah, so I will forever resist against the American government after what you people did to me. Um, you crossed the line, I needed mental health care, not torture, abuse, humiliation, degradation, assaults, solitary confinement, malnutrition, poisonous psych drugs, and your COVID vaccines were probably poison too, that they pressured me to take in prison. Regret taking them. Oh, but also, there was a nice CO lady. Her name was Vaitia. She was kind of sexy, and she would flirt with me a little bit. She's not that pretty, but has a nice body. But then she ended up getting pregnant, and gross. Kind of ended up having like a pot belly after that. Not that pretty, so who cares? But it was cool that she was flirting with me for a few weeks. I was so horny, at like at age 25, 26. I really was attracted to her at that time. But looking back, I'm like, ugh, that was kind of fucking ugly. But yeah, she had a nice body though. But yeah, I appreciate you, Vetia, for being a little flirty with me. That was sweet of you, considering how much I was being bullied and how I could have been perceived by you as like a beta male loser victim, but yet you still felt a little attraction to me and were flirting with me a little bit. But so, thank you. It's very sweet of you, Miss Vetia. One of the few nice people I met in prison. One of the few nice COs. But hey, Officer Vetia, you know, you can contact me at my email, jdwhitesandiego@gmail.com, if you're interested in going on a date, hanging out, whatever. I am down, to maybe date, maybe, I don't know. I would rather be with a Christian woman that doesn't have any children, but uh, maybe I'll give it a try with you if you're interested, if you're watching this. I don't know if you are. Uh, the clinicians, I want to talk about the clinicians and psychiatrists. The worst clinician I had was Salernos. She was a bully. She would tell me, "You're ugly, you're a beta male, you're not macho, you have bad posture, you need to shut up and not express your opinion." She would scream at me too in the building in building one, I think. Yeah, she would like be screaming at me sometimes because I would be like telling the SEAL that I wanted to talk to her. I'd see her talking to another uh, prisoner, and then I would tell the SEAL, "Hey, when she's done with him, can you tell her that I need to talk to her too?" And I didn't even interrupt, and she still like screamed at me um, from far away when I was in my cell. Evil ass bitch. Fuck you, Salernos. Fucking cunt. Yeah, she's a mean bitch. She didn't want to give me my single cell status. I had to demand it with 602s, and I even requested a different clinician that she was no good for me, and she had a resentment and a grudge about that, and would bring it up. And I still had to talk to her, but I then once I got my single cell renewed, I would like stop going to my one-on-ones with her and stuff. But the nicest clinician I had was Dr. E. Elmi, and she's very pretty, very sexy, big breasts, big booty, very, very sexy, beautiful young woman. I think she's in her 30s, and she was so sweet to me. Very, very beautiful. I would flirt with her, tell her she's beautiful, and she never told on me. I hope she doesn't get in trouble for me saying that. I don't think she can get away with a lot because people that work for the government can get away with almost anything. But yeah, she was a very sweet lady, very compassionate, always kind and good listener. Um, she would let me say all kinds of things that other clinicians would not have let me get away with. Me talking shit about how evil the government is, how the government blew up the Twin Towers and things like that. And she wouldn't really like agree or disagree. She'd just be like listening. And but I felt like she kind of agreed with some of the things I said, even when she didn't say she did. But there were times where she said she agrees with things I say. When I'll talk about like um, the inequality here in America, the racism of the government and cops and things like that, injustice. But yeah, Dr. Elmi, if you're listening to this, I want you to know that I would really like to be your boyfriend or husband. Very attracted to you. Think you're a nice person, beautiful and smart. So if you're interested, email me. I don't want to give out my phone number here on YouTube or any social media, but you can email me or drop a comment. So yeah, I'm done with parole now, and I'm gonna be an activist now. I'm gonna be volunteering for Saving Lives in Custody, California, founded by the family of Elisa Serna. Elisa Serna was murdered by the sheriffs and the county doctors of the county jail doctors and nurses, sheriffs, doctors and nurses of the county of San Diego. So yeah, America, wake up! The county of San Diego is murdering pregnant American women. Okay, I think I'm ready to end it now. Have faith in Jesus Christ, people. These evil people in the American government, they will have to answer to God and Jesus Christ. Um, I think a lot of them are gonna burn in hell because I don't think most of them are even ever gonna have faith in Jesus Christ. I admit I lost my faith in Jesus Christ many times throughout prison, and then would gain it back and lose it, and it's just uh, probably the environment that was making me lose faith, but also didn't really get a good, proper Christian education most of my life. I've grown up in a predominantly Christian, uh, predominantly unchristian, secular family, city, and state. So I hope and think that God will have mercy on me uh, because He understands that context. But from now on, I will be a devout Christian. I love you, Jesus Christ. Please return soon. Please bring an end to the evil that the American government is doing and that these American corporations are doing. We need you, Jesus Christ. We are so tired. We are begging for justice. My name is Josue D. White. Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel, the Mystical Vision Podcast. Also, my other channel is Pastor JD White, where I give sermons. I haven't shown my face in these sermons, but I will in the next ones. Trying to think, what else should I say? Is there anything else I'm missing out? Yeah, I was pretty much forced to do a plea bargain. You know, plea bargains, in my opinion, are unconstitutional. It doesn't say anywhere in the Constitution, Bill of Rights, that you can do plea bargains, that the government can make people or offer to people plea bargains. Everyone is supposed to have a fair and speedy trial with a jury of their peers and to have witnesses and to see who their accusers are, and you have a right to represent yourself and you have the right to counsel. I did not get proper counsel. Most Americans do not get proper counsel. Barely even got to talk to my public defender. The most I ever got to talk to her was probably 1 hour the whole time I was going to court. All the other times I got to talk to her was very brief, a few minutes pretty much. And she was a Filipina. I think she probably hates Latinos like a lot of Filipinos here in San Diego do. Because she was very mean to me, you know. She would talk shit to me about, like, we gassed the sheriff. What's wrong with you? All judgmental. And like, when I told her that I would rather do a plea bargain for 2 years rather than like 5 years, because she was trying to get me to do it for 5 years, but then it became 8 years. Um, she laughed at me. She's like, 2 years. Such a snobby ass fucking cunt. Can't remember her name. What was her name? Ah, gosh. I'll find out though, and I'll expose her because she's a terrible person. I really hate her. She could have done a better job of representing me and helping me, not talking shit to me and being mean to me and judging me. And then she like told me that you're not a 12-year-old because I was saying like how this 8-year sentence is like that's almost like half my life because I was 25 at the time, right? So like that 10 years is almost like close to half of your life if you're 25 years old, you know? If you know what I mean, because if you're 25 years old, that's almost close to just being 20 years old. Half of 20 is 10. If I'm being sentenced to 8 years, that's close to 10 years. So like you're pretty much giving me a prison sentence that's almost um what almost a third of my age. Jeez, people are harsh, man. Oh God. You know what? I'm gonna run for mayor of the city of San Diego one day. San Diego Police Department, you're gonna work for me one day. San Diego Sheriffs, you're gonna work for me one day. Okay? Josue Daniel White will be the mayor of San Diego, California one day, and I will make it better, and I will make it great, and I will make it fair. The persecution of Latinos and blacks and Native Americans and other minorities will end with Josue White as mayor of San Diego, California. Housing will be more affordable, there will be more jobs, more opportunities for becoming middle class and homeowners. People will be treated with respect. There will not be homelessness when I become mayor. People will have all their needs met. It's going to be hard because we have some evil people that don't want that to happen that run this country, like the Freemasons and the billionaires and the secret societies, the Fortune 500 companies, and British royalty, right? These people hate us and they want us to all die and do the life in prison. But Josue White will be mayor of San Diego, California, and he will be a man of the working class people. I will do everything I can to provide a better life and better opportunities for working class people, for mentally ill people, disabled people. We gotta stop putting people into power that can't even relate to us working class people. Gotta stop putting old money people that hate us working class people. Gotta stop putting them in. Excuse me, I just burped. I wish I could edit that out. I was drinking a lot of soda. But anyways, yeah. Uh, I was born and raised in this county. I know it like the back of my hand, and we keep getting people in leadership that did not grow up here, that are from rich families, old money. Like Sarah Jacobs, I really like her grandparents. They're nice people. I've met them, Irwin and Joan Jacobs. Joan Jacobs passed away while I was in prison. I saw it on the news. God bless her. May she rest in peace. Uh, Sarah Jacobs seems like a nice person, but she's always criticizing Elon Musk for being a billionaire that's influencing the government. But she is influenced by a billionaire. Her grandfather, Irwin Jacobs, is a billionaire who owns Qualcomm. And so she's a hypocrite, she's had her congresswoman position bought pretty much by her grandfather. So uh, if we keep putting people in power that don't even know what life is like for your like average American, your working class American, obviously they're not gonna have compassion and sympathy on working class people, and they're not gonna actually try to do anything to uh, protect and help working class people. Now, Sarah Jacobs, I'm not specifically saying that she's evil or anything like that. I don't really know what her stance on anything is. I know she's a Democrat, and I know the Democrat Party fucking sucks. So doesn't look good to me to have Democrats running San Diego or California, because they're a bunch of phonies. They pretend like they care about minorities and the LGBTQ, but trust me, they do not give a shit about LGBTQ people, because they beat the crap out of them in prison, in county jail, and pepper spray them and put them in ADSEG. And so yeah, one day I will be running for mayor of San Diego, California. Yeah, and I already know it's gonna be rough because all these snobby people are gonna be like, we don't want a low class felon to be our mayor. We want a billionaire or a puppet of a billionaire to be our mayor. We got a lot of rich people here in San Diego, California, and I'm pretty sure they don't want us working class people to even be living here. You know, that's why they make uh, housing so expensive here on purpose. Housing is a human right, and in a system where you're not even really allowed to escape it, you have to let people have access to being able to meet their needs of housing, healthcare, education, uh, livable wages, and being able to have proper representation in any kind of court cases and indictments, rather than just using coercion and torture to pressure them into a plea bargain. All right, I think I'll end it there. God bless you, everyone. Please subscribe. This was very emotionally draining to talk about.